Hey, hi, everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie See How They Run. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you are concerned about spoilers and you have not watched the movie yet, I would suggest you go ahead and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So, See How They Run is a murder mystery set in London's West End in the 1950s. It's somewhat loosely based on the Agatha Christie, or it involves the Agatha Christie story Mousetrap as well. So as far as what I liked about the movie, overall, I liked the cast. Sam Rockwell in there. Saoirse Ronan was a standout for me for sure. I like David Oyelowo in there. Ruth Wilson, Harris Dickinson, Adrien Brody. Overall, I think all the cast did a really good job. The setting, 1950s London, it's a great time. I love the 50s. I love London. I like the way that it looked and everything, the way that it was shot, the look of the marquee and everything, and the lighting. Great overall, really cool look to it. I really like the dry humor. It's very British style, very dry humor where it's not really in your face. It's just sort of a quick little casual thing that somebody might say, and you barely even notice it, and but it's clever and it's funny, and I really like that. I really like the overall script and the dialogue and the way that it was written. Maybe a little overwritten, maybe a little bit too much like a writer would do, but I like that kind of stuff. So I like Agatha Christie, not only as a storyteller, she is, I believe, if not other than maybe Shakespeare, the most successful author of all time. And yeah, I like Agatha Christie, and of course, a lot of our mystery novels are owed to her. Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile and all that stuff. Yeah, and she actually shows up in the movie herself, and I like the actress who played Agatha Christie, and I like the way that she portrayed her. And I like the ending of the movie overall, even though they did sort of, I guess, foreshadow it earlier, because it basically ends the exact way that Adrien Brody's character storyboarded out for the way he wanted the movie adaptation of Mousetrap to end. So I guess you saw it coming, but I still liked it, and I thought it was interesting and earned. And there was a little bit of a twist there, because in the storyboards, they have the partner get shot, and in the movie, it's actually the detective who gets shot, the inspector, I guess. As far as what I didn't like about in the movie, Sam Rockwell's accent's a little iffy for sure. When I first, I saw the movie, saw it was a murder mystery, and Sam Rockwell was in it. I was like, that's all I need to know. I didn't watch a trailer or anything like that. And then when I got there, I realized it was set in London, and I'm like, oh, Sam Rockwell's playing British. I've never heard him do a British accent, and he did it, and it's okay. There's sometimes it sounds pretty good. There's sometimes it doesn't. But his character is kind of drunk and kind of sleepy and mumbly, so it kind of works. But yeah, I guess, and I love Sam Rockwell. He's one of my favorite actors, but there's plenty of British actors out there who could have done this part as well. So a little interesting there. There's a lot of flashbacks in the movie. The movie kind of starts with, I guess, sort of a flashback, or it starts with something and then it does a flashback, and then Adrien Brody's character basically dies in the very beginning. And I did like that, actually, the way that they set it up so you think he's the main character. And I'm going, I didn't even know Adrien Brody was in this movie. And then he dies, and he's like, oh, see, I'm not the main character. And then at some point, they kind of make it seem like, Sam Rockwell's basically the main character. But then about halfway through, Saoirse Ronan kind of takes over as basically the focus for the movie and everything. So I really like that, the way I kind of didn't exactly know who was the focus here and who I should be rooting for. But the movie does take a lot of flashbacks. So, and they even kind of complain about it in the movie. They have David Oyelowo's character complain about how flashbacks are hacky. And I don't know if it's a hack thing, but I don't like flashbacks as much. I prefer just a straight linear story. If you want to start at the beginning and then do one flashback, that's fine. But when you're doing repeated flashbacks for exposition, that gets a little tiring for me. There's also, as they're doing toward the end, they do a lot of split screen kind of stuff. It doesn't bother me as much, but it's a little, again, I don't really like tricks and showy stuff. I could have people sitting in a room and just talking. As long as the dialogue is good, I'm happy. That's all I need. Movie is a little slow. It does drag a little bit in the middle there. And the movie is definitely a little too cute. It's not quite as bad as, say, like Paul Anderson's movies, or not Paul Anderson, Wes Anderson's movies. But it's almost there. It's not quite as stylized. It doesn't quite have the same color palette and design, but there is this sort of cuteness to it. This very like, even though it is a murder mystery and people are dying, it doesn't really seem that scary or realistic. There's not really a lot of tension or buildup or anything like that. But other than that, going back to things that I like, because I keep forgetting, we are going into full spoilers here. I really like the ending, mostly in the fact that I did not suspect the person who it was, which, spoilers here, it was the usher there ended up being the murderer. And for me, it was the kind of mystery where I felt justified because I didn't suspect it was him, but once they revealed it was him, I go, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then I started remembering scenes where like David Oyelowo was talking to him and he doesn't seem very interested in it, and a couple other things. And of course, once they revealed who it was, I realized, oh, he must be one of the orphans who the Agatha Christie story is based off of. So I put that together pretty quickly, but I did not guess the usher and was not even considering him at all until they revealed him to be the killer. So I thought it was pretty satisfying there. And the fact that it was enough that I didn't suspect it, but once they revealed it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So for me, perfect kind of mystery. Other than that, the movie is directed by a guy named Tom George. I'm not too familiar with him. He's a British guy. He's mostly known for doing some TV shows like This Country. And I believe he did a movie called Defending the Guilty. I've not seen that. Mark Chappell was the writer. And he also is a British writer. He does a lot of TV shows, something called Cold Feet and Flaked. I've never seen either of those. Sounds interesting, though, and I like the writing on this. This movie did remind me a bit of the movie Knives Out, which, of course, was another murder mystery that came out a year or two ago, and they've got a new one coming out called Glass Onion. And the difference there, of course, is Knives Out was set in America, and you've got a British actor doing a Foghorn Leghorn impression. And this one's set in London, you've got an American actor doing a, I don't know what kind of impression, a very lazy British accent impression. Richard Attenborough is the name of one of the characters in this, and it distracted me the whole time because I'm like, that's a real person, isn't it? Like, am I confused? Because there's David Attenborough and there's Richard Attenborough. One does voiceovers for BBC and the other one played Hammond in Jurassic Park, right? So yeah, the fact that they actually just used an actual actor who actually did star in Mousetrap and the first run of it in London's West End was interesting to me and kind of funny. And I believe Richard Attenborough passed away a couple of years ago. I think David is still alive, so I guess that's okay, or maybe his estate was okay with it, or you know, I'm not really sure. Mousetrap is actually still running at St. Martin's Theater since 1974. It was in the Ambassador Theater before that, and that's where this movie takes place. But the exterior shots of the theater are actually St. Martin's Theater, which is where the play is currently running. There's a lot of names and references in here to Agatha Christie and various other works of mystery and real life mysteries as well. So they mentioned the Rillington Place murders. That was an actual scene of murders. And they actually made a movie about it where Richard Attenborough, I believe, played the murderer, or he was in the movie at least. Some of the names they reference in the little black book, Beryl and Geraldine, were actual women who were murdered by the Rillington Place murderer. Max Malloman, one of the characters, is the name of Agatha Christie's second husband, I think. It was the name of one of Agatha Christie's husbands. And Inspector Stoppard is most likely named after Tom Stoppard, who was a mystery writer who actually wrote another mystery there was a play within a play or a mystery within a mystery kind of thing. And there's some other references too, like the play is the thing, which is, of course, from Hamlet, and a lot of these kind of somewhat subtle kind of literary references that I appreciated. So for me, I think this is the kind of movie that is probably not for most people. I think most people would find it kind of boring and slow and a little too cute. But it's the kind of movie that I like. I like boring, slow, kind of cute movies. Although I don't like Wes Anderson that much. But this for me was just enough where it wasn't annoying. It wasn't over the top. And so I really actually kind of liked it. I think I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. So if you saw the movie, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. And I will see you here again next week.